Someone wants to do the invocation first?
Yeah, we can do it.
Yes.
सदाशिवसमारम्भाम् शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्ताम् वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्.
One incomplete syllable it comes. You say Sadashiv. So in Hindi it is okay, but in Sanskrit it will be Sadashiva.
Sadashiva.
Can you do it again?
सदाशिवसमारम्भाम् शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्ताम् वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्. श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयम् करुणालयम् नमामि भगवत्पाद शङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्. शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणम् सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः.
Again. Bhagavantau punah punaha.
भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः.
Sutra bhashya kritau vande bhagavantau punah punaha.
सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः.
Correct. Once more do it because
From the beginning.
last line.
सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः. भगवन्तौ. ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै. ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः.
I'll chant the first 3 verses. I think all of you can. Let's try once. Whoever wants to, I mean. Instead of choosing one only. Because there used to be an echo, I'm not sure if that still stays. So you can all chant, whoever wants to chant, so that those who don't want to do it individually can get the help of the group. So let me start with the 11th verse. I'll do. Then you may unmute yourself and let's see if there's too much of an echo, we'll change the process. Am I clear?
Yes, please.
Shri Bhagavanuvacha.
Shri Bhagavanuvacha.
Ashocyananvashocastvam.
Ashocastvam.
Prajnavadanscha bhashase.
Prajnavadanscha
bhashase.
Gatasunagatasumscha.
Gatasunagatasumscha.
Nanushocanti panditaha.
Nanushocanti panditaha.
Natvevaham jatunasam.
द्वेऽहं जातु नासम्
न त्वं नेमे जनाधिपाः
न त्वं मे जनाधिपा
न चैव न भविष्यामः
न चैव न भविष्यामः
सर्वे वयमतः परम्
सर्वे वयमतः परम्
देहिनोऽस्मिन् यथा देहे
यथा देहे
कौमारं यौवनं जरा
कौमारं यौवनं जरा
तथा देहान्तरप्राप्तिः
तथा प्राप्तिः
धीरस्तत्र न मुह्यति
धीरस्तत्र न मुह्यते
So you can all mute yourself now. We are seeing an extremely important portion in the Shastra, entire Shastra. Started with verse 11. Bhagwan has made a statement. It's a voice of declaration. It is stating choicelessly a truth. That truth is that those who have true knowledge, they do not show grief, they do not have grief, Shloka, for either the living or for the dead. This is a Siddhant applicable to us. I'm leaving out what he's telling Arjuna. Prajnavadamscha bhashase. How does it apply to us, Prajnavadam? We all know whoever's born has to die. But yet in our life, the whole span of our life, we are subject to an occasional grief, moment of grief, weeks and months of grief, either for the living or for the dead. We have different reasons and excuses or different karan we give, different reasons we come up with. But to none of us is this a statement of fact that you can live a life without grief. To none of us it's an acceptable state. That grief is totally unacceptable from Shastra Drishti. But from our Drishti, grief is an accepted emotion of life. It has to be there. If you don't have grief, if you don't express some sort of a emotion, then you are cold-hearted, you're indifferent, etc. Such judgments will be there across you. So vyavharically, when you are in vyavhar, grief is an accepted emotion. Fine in grief, because in vyavhar, the question of truth, the question, the vichar of what is true about one's existence while living or dead, when one has died, what is the truth of that existence? Vyavharik drishti, it never comes up. Nobody questions that. Nobody is expected to question in Vyavhar. In Vyavhar, you are supposed to have a nice, warm, lubricant, harmonious, peaceful coexistence, supporting each other, strengthen the bonds, live for each other, maybe sacrifice for each other, have accommodation for each other, be flexible for each other. These are vyavharik societal values that hold people together in society, in a family and society. This is acceptable. But if you have to question the existence of someone, in Vyavhar, existence of oneself or existence of someone, if you have to ponder on it, if you have to dwell on it, if you have to think about it, then a thinking person, the one who knows, who has been made aware of the knowledge that is regarding one's existence, one who has the knowledge of one's existence, such a person sees the falsity of grieving. It's false. It's a false notion. It's a false emotion. It's false in entirety when it is seen from the existential point of view. From a vyavharik point of view, it may be acceptable. But from an existential point of view, the one who knows the truth of one's existence cannot grieve. This is a pratigya vakyam of Bhagavad Gita itself. Pratigya vakyam, as I said, is a statement of truth, a declaration made, and understanding that, knowing this, the one who knows that there is no grief for a wise person, truly knowledgeable person, the contrast is also seen. What is the contrast? The one who doesn't know the truth of the existence, one's existence, will show signs of grief, will have grief. Where has this grief come from? How has the grief become a real experience like Arjuna has? How is it that this grief is going to become a sole reason for his future actions? Shastra says that Lakshana, if you look back, I'm restating, the one who knows the truth regarding one's existence. मैं क्या हूं? मेरा सत्य क्या है? मेरा तथ्य क्या है? मैं पे विचार क्या है? मैं किसे कहते हैं? Who's मैं? What is मैं? What is I? What is the truth about my feeling I? How is it that I feel a sense of individuality and I'm unshaken about it? It remains firm throughout, whatever be the experience. You are also certain about your sense of reality of I. Multiple people, multiple species, plurality. Each one seems to have a cognition of I, and that I sense pertains to mera hona. मैं हूं. It's very difficult to say it in English as my existence because existence can be treated as an inert thing. मेरा होना, मैं हूं. इस पे किसी को शक है? संशय है? Does anyone ever doubt मेरा होना? मैं हूं. कोई विचार जाता है उस पे? Do we ever dwell on the thought, on this notion, experience that I have of myself? मैं क्या हूं? What am I? Am I just a bundle of thoughts and feelings and emotions and wants and etc.? How do I categorize myself? How do I define myself? Does my likes and dislikes define me? That is what makes all of us different people, sure enough. But is that what is मैं हूँ? Is मैं हूँ equivalent to my likes and dislikes? मेरी इच्छाएं, मेरी आकांक्षाएं, मेरी मर्जी, etc. A wise one, Panditaha here he said, is one who knows, figured it out, understood, learned, has developed a cognition, verifiable cognition, not a belief alone, a verifiable cognition of मैं हूँ और उसका nature क्या है, what is its nature? मैं हूँ, how does it, what is its nature? How does it get experienced? How is it expressing?
It feels very permanent.
Yeah, correct. Of course. Yeah. We are coming to that now. So what is मैं हूँ? That मैं हूँ, उसका cognition, the knowledge of it, that the one who has does not grieve, which means the one who grieves does not have that correct cognition of one's nature. उसी को मोह कहा, confusion regarding oneself. As long as there is a confusion regarding oneself, that moh gets translated, gets imposed upon a sense of identity which is based on pratyaksha, based on sensory experience. I'll repeat myself, it is subtle. A wise knows the true nature of livingness, beingness. Shastra says it's Atman, Atman is Brahman. A wise person is one who has Atma Gyan. And what does Atma Gyan mean? My nature, मेरे होने का स्वभाव क्या है? मैं होना किसे कहते हैं? What is the nature of है, existence? What is its true nature? That person has understood, heard, reflected, and has built a strong cognition, is now available. The true nature of Atma is available to the person. Such a person has no grief. Opposite spectrum. Start from the fact that yes, we all grieve. And to us, grieving is a reality. That sense of reality in our grief, Shastra says if you compare it to the wise person, then automatically says you do not have knowledge of truth regarding yourself, regarding life, regarding existence, regarding as is. जो है जैसा है, वो ज्ञान नहीं है. So what is there? You have avidya. You have means there is no knowledge, so there is avidya. नहीं जानते आप अपने बारे में. जितना भी आप जानते हो अपने बारे में, which is what? I am this form, I am this name, I am this nationality, I am this identity, I have this religion, I have these likes, I have this career, I have this status, I have this gender, all this that you know about yourself, Shastra says, this is Brahma, this is incorrect knowledge about yourself. This is not the knowledge of your existence. This is incidental to, associated with this body. This knowledge is centered on the body. Pratyaksh pe hai. Pratyaksh means sensory experience. Because my eyes and my other senses are seeing myself as this form, this height, this gender, this rupa, this nama that has been given to etc., etc., I call myself, I believe myself to be this. the one who has such a knowledge is subject to grief. Okay, that knowledge is Brahma, is incorrect knowledge, incomplete knowledge. It is wrongly attributed on the body. Your existence is wrongly attributed on the body. क्योंकि आप नहीं जानते that your existence is free of everything, that your existence is Atma, and that Atma is not like a supernatural state or supernatural word that is to be achieved or gained. Your experience of मैं now, when you use the word मैं, that dwell on it. It's very fascinating. If you just think about mere hona, dwell on it. Don't worry about anything else for a few moments. Dwell on hona. How am I so confirmed about mera hona? I am there. That experience is unshaken. I don't need anybody to tell me I'm there. I don't need any experience of my senses to tell me I am here. That one who doesn't have this clear knowledge wrongly associates it to the body, the senses experience, and thus that Brahma, that wrong knowledge, moha, confusion regarding oneself, that confusion, moha, is subject to Shloka. Arjun is not in cognition of what is the true nature of everyone. Therefore, he has got a vyavharik drishti, superimposes mama. His aham is associated with Arjuna the form, Arjuna the kula, Arjuna the warrior, Arjuna the sakha, the cousin, etc., etc., the father, the grandfather. Arjuna is qualified from a vyavharik standpoint as so and so. Such a person has no sight of true existence. Of existence. Existence means hai, kya hai? Kya hai ye? Life, kya hai life? Is it dependent only on breath? Once the breath is gone, I'm gone, I'll disappear, I'll vanish, I'll disintegrate, I'll be destroyed, I'll perish, I'll never come back, I'll never have another, forget I'll never come back, I'll never have another sensory experience. With the death of this body, is it the culmination, the end for my experience, for this flow of experience that I call life? Will death end it all? Is it the final? It's like saying, it's just a very small imagery, but if it helps convey, if you have gone on a mountaineering, going somewhere, and then you reach a plateau somewhere, and after that there's this place which is called the Earth's last point. It's a huge wall or something, I believe. You go there, and that's said to be the, and then there is this huge gorge, nothing ahead. End. There's nothing ahead. That means when I die, or anyone who dies, end. If we even think this much, something happens, some kuch hilta hai andar. There is need to understand. Is that true? Because everyday life, we don't bother to think about all these things. There's no time, there is no need. Our survival takes our time and It's important. Our relations and our survival and what I want to do and achieve consumes our time. But the fact is, the greatest fact we live with, the greatest truth we live with is death is there. Unshaken truth. For me and for those who I call mine, mere pita, meri mata, mere brata, meri sakha, mere. That relation, that sambandha that I have formed in this Brahma of me being this form, that sambandha that I formed in the Brahma of me being this form, that sambandha is the कारण for शोक. शोक वहीं से उत्पन्न होता है, ब्रह्म से संबंध बना. So that Brahm becomes the Karan expressed in relation. Pratigya Vakyam is, and throughout the Gita this is going to be it, and this is a crux of Vedanta. All Upanishads is centered on this. It's the pivot of Vedantic knowledge. The one who has figured his existence, has figured out existence, because in existence, is there a gender?
No.
See how easy it is for us to figure that out. In existence, there is no gender. Is there an age? उम्र है existence की.
Just there.
शरीर की उम्र है. Existence की उम्र है. Because we don't think of it, it's not coming straight. Because हमने हमेशा existence को शरीर के साथ माना है. So for me, my birthday is important because my existence is centered on my body. So my body's birth is my birth. The one who has true knowledge of his existence, her existence, his and her dissolved there. ज्ञान है किस बात का? ये that I am so certain of मेरा होना. Today we do not know whether on death मैं हूँ कि नहीं हूँ. We don't know because we never think about it. Is the answer not there at all? No. Shastra is given as the answer. Shastra is a praman for that answer. Why? And it's not just giving any hypothesis. It has its reasons. Verifiable reasons. That on death, am I disintegrating once and for all? शरीर तो तत्वों से बना है, तत्वों में चला जाता है. 5 elements it's made up of. On death, when the pran leaves, the body returns back its 5 elements. They are borrowed today. We are all on rented abodes. This is a rented body. We all have rented the elements. That is why there is a rinam. In व्यवहारिक दृष्टि, अगर शरीर है, तो आपके पास एक ऋण भी है. You have to pay the rent. You have to pay the rent. Once there is death, sharir is just matter, goes back to its elements. But today that I am, thanks to all this internet media and everything, if you look at some old videos of all the masters who have gone, it's fascinating. There's just a recording. Looks like so live. Looks like the person's talking. It's an image. Once the person's gone, is it the end? This question must shake people up. This question must bring up jignasa in us. कि जब ये शरीर मर रहा है, छूट रहा है, तो क्या ये जो जीव अंदर है, जो इसको शरीर को मैं कह के जी रहा है, क्या ये जीव the end, what happens? बॉडी तो एलिमेंट्स में वापस गया, जीव का क्या हुआ? The one who's now talking, you and I are now interacting, what will happen to us? Our experience may end, one of us, God forbid, the experience is ended, but what about the person who, supposing I go for you, what happens to me when I have gone? My body you are going to handle. You will dispose of. I cannot even do anything about it. It will lie there. When it starts to disintegrate and stench badly, you will be forced to give it up. But what will happen to me? What
You will
happens?
take another body.
Sorry?
You will take another body.
Correct. I will take another body.
Unless you get moksha and you are lucky.
That is the answer finally. But first, when we dwell on the question, that is why for all of us, Prajnavadan, it is easy for us to say it because we have heard it in our culture, we know it. But is the knowledge internalized enough for it to displace any birth of grief? It has to be held. This contrast being there, the education has started. Krishna is now telling, he said, the wise does not grieve for the living or the dead. Then in the 12th verse, he gives the hetu, the reason. Why? What is Atma Vidya? Atma Gyan kya hai? It has never been that you are not there, I am not there, we will not be there in the future. We are ever there. Hona, the anubhav, manifest or unmanifest, that the one who says मैं हूँ today, that Atma confined to the body expresses as Jiva. I'll repeat. That Hona existence is Atma, confined as if associated to the body, is bringing the cognition of Jiva, Jivatvam, identifiable only to the body and not to the real Swarupam. That Swarupam is Nityam. It never dies. It is always there. It has no, if it doesn't die means it doesn't have any change. Uska koi vyaya nahi hai. It doesn't undergo any change. This is a big statement. And don't take it as if you already know it. If you already know it, think again. Because the more you will think on it, the more you will discover another layer of truth in it. We all have heard this, so it is very easy to say, I know it. But don't presume that you know the whole of it. That Atma is Nityam. Main is the experience. My existence is Atma. And Atma is Nitya. Nitya, not only Nitya. Nitya means it's changeless. It's birthless, it's deathless. It's changeless. There is no change possible. That is the hetu he has given. That is the reason he has given why they don't grieve. The one who has Atma Gyan doesn't grieve because he knows Atma is nor born nor dies. Neither born nor dies. Neither has any change. It is ever, ever, ever there. And never will it ever be that it will not be there. Atma is ever there. आत्म ज्ञानी वो है who has this cognition present available in their buddhi as understanding, not just a knowledge based, but seeing it as real. Atma is Nitya. In the light of which, he said, this body and its changes, expression of Jivatvam, all this is changing. It can never not change. On one hand, you have the knowledge of changeless existence. Hona is changeless. Absolutely, along with it is another knowledge that you have of ever being changing. शरीर कभी एक नहीं रहता. No moment, every moment it's in time, and time is known through change. Every moment it is in change. So the I, which is actually associated with the change, changing, that I, existence associated with that which changes, becomes the Karan of Shok, because you don't know what it changes into tomorrow. But when I is associated with the changeless, then automatically what will happen?
Joke is gone.
Joke is gone. Bhaya is gone. Fear is gone. Because changeless is now known. Jana hai. So the hetu is, Param means after death. That na tu eva aham jatu na asam na tvam neme janadipaha. It will never be that I was not there, you were not there, nor these kings were not there, and it will never be, means we were not there in the past, or we will cease to be in the future. Vayamataha, all of us, when the body falls, continue to be there. The existence doesn't die. That is now you have to see it as a thought now. First, 11th verse, 12th verse. Now in the 13th verse, he gives us the example, because if Atma is that which is ever there in 3 periods of time, any one of us can say, I have no proof that Atma thi before this birth. I have no proof that Atma will be there after death. How do I accept this statement? There is an example here. What is the example? Dehinaha asmin yatha dehe kaumaram yauvanam jara tatha dehantara deha antara praptihi hiraha tatra na muhyate. Dehinaha asmin yatha dehe, just as yatha, just as dehe, in this body, asmin dehe, this body, yatha, as asmin dehe, this body, dehinaha. Who is dehinaha? Shankara says dehavataha. जो देहवत है. Who's dehavat? Atmanaha. Dehaha asya asti iti dehi. The one who is claiming this body as me is the dehi. Dehwala. The one who owns the body as mera, main. The one who claims the body to be main. That's the best definition. The one who claims the body to be main. Even the sentence is so analytical. one who claims the body to be मैं. Is it a correct statement or a wrong statement? Claiming the body to be मैं.
Wrong statement.
Why?
Because you suppose that we are claiming it, right? So in our thinking, we already know that this is we are the body. So यहाँ तो कोई claim हुआ ही नहीं.
Okay, fine. And what is the proof? What is the reason for it?
Also, we
Yeah.
owe it to the elements, like
Absolutely. The body is elements. आप elements को मेरा कह रहे हो, मैं कह रहे हो, मेरा भी ठीक है, मैं कह रहे हो. This is an aggregate of elements. The body is made up of space, air, fire, water, earth. Nothing other than that. And body को आप मैं कह रहे हो. Is that claiming, not trespassing? What is not yours, you say, is mine. The body is not yours, but you are claiming it as मैं. Not even मेरा. You claim it as मैं. ये मैं ही हूँ. This is who I am. This is what I am. That is a dehi, the one who's claiming the body. Shankara says, and Shastra says, that is actually Atma. ये Atma है. Atma means, say it as Atman, the one who is I, that I cognition, मैं का cognition, is Atma truly. It's sourced from I identified with the body is limited. You remove I, take it backwards, keep removing its layers of identification, and the I will center itself on Atman, which is pure existence, pure consciousness, pure awareness, unconditioned, ever existent. That Dehi, he says, the first line, just as in this body the Dehi goes through experiences, Kaumaram, Yavvanam, Jara. Kaumaram means Kumar Avastha, the boyhood. Yavvanam means adolescent, young age. Jara is old age. Just as there is a transition of one avastha completely replaced by another avastha. Bala avastha completely replaced. इतना लक्षण भी नहीं है, हमारे मन में अलग बात है, शरीर में इतना लक्षण भी नहीं है बाल अवस्था का. What has happened? The Bal Avastha is completely replaced by Kaumar Avastha, Kumar Avastha. Young boy, young person, Kumar, Kumari. And then moves on. When the adolescence sets in that adolescent stage, who will say this is the same body? Completely different. And then adolescent age replaced completely by middle age body. Not the same. Middle age replaced completely by Jara, old age. Body is point to be noted here is, Shankara says, Asmin vartamane dehe yatha yena prakarena. Asmin vartamane, now, present in this body. In which manner? Yena prakarena. Kaumaram kumara bhavaha. Balyavastha. Yauvanam yunaha bhavaha. That feeling that I am an adolescent, that everybody, especially nowadays, Parents say, the minute that teen word comes into your age, even a parent gets scared of you because it's a different existence, it's a different expression of individuality. That bhavaha, that acknowledgement of yourself being a young person, which is madhyama avastha, the middle-aged coming to, so from adolescent to middle age. Jara vayo hanihi, jeena avastha, where everything is now declining, deteriorating. That's a jeena avastha. Iti etaha tisra avastha. In this manner are the three avasthas mentioned here. Anyonya vilakshanaha. They are mutually, anyonya, vilakshana, completely mutually separate from each other. Vilakshan hai. They don't have the same characteristics. The bhava of you being a child and the bhava of you being a youthful person. And in a youthful person, even our minds are different. The bhava of you being in a middle age and the bhava of being in the old age. All these are mutually exclusive to each other. Very important point. Because this is a Drishtantha example. A Drishtantha is given for a Darshtantha. Means an example is given to take, an illustration is made to give a siddhant or derive a point from there. Darshtantha, what is the point that you are trying to make? The example must help us understand that. He says, just as the Dehi means recall your life up to this age. When you were a child, what was your sense of me? In a child's body. Recall that. When you grew a little older, recall the sense of मैं हूँ in that body, that age. You grew a little older. Recall मैं हूँ in that age. Recall now. And if I am already in a little older age, recall that. That मैं हूँ through all these mutually exclusive avasthas. मैं हूँ में कुछ भी व्यय हुआ है along with the vyaya of the body, change of the body. Vyaya means change. Is the मैं हूँ changed along with the change of the body?
No.
मैं ये हूँ, मैं वो हूँ, don't qualify it. We don't want adjectives. Oh, तब तो मैं ये थी, अब तो मैं ये हूँ. That time I was such a nice person. Now, I'm a vicious person. I've learned by experience. Don't trust anybody. I was such a gullible person at that time. Now I have learned by I'm no longer believing in anyone. I don't trust anyone. I'm not talking about those things. मैं हूँ. As a child, how firm we were. Because of we were so firm कि मैं हूँ. Even if my toy was taken away, it gave me grief. Why? When my toy broke, my मैं हूँ shook up because मैं हूँ was associated with the toy. Am I making sense?
But Deepti ji, as a baby, you would not have that मैं हूँ, right? Like when you are.
This is an example. So take it from the point where you have मैं हूँ. Doesn't matter. The child also has, but is not aware of it. So this is talking about balavastha, when you have self-cognition. 7, 8 years, 6 years, 5 years. Not a 5-day-old or a 3-day-old or,
Got it.
Balavastha, Kumara Bhava, it starts. Anyway, it's an example. The main point is what? The main thing is Has your मैं हूँ changed through the stages of your life? The experience of मैं हूँ. That's the point here. Has it changed? The firmness with which you say मैं हूँ, every day morning, today, say last 1 week. If you can't go too far back, don't worry. Last 1 week, did it change?
No, that mehu is constant.
The मैं हूँ is constant. It did not change. And you have to see it in your affirmation. मैं हूँ अगर किसी का हिल जाता है ना, you call that person a mad person. You need psychiatric help. There is a deviation, there is a mental health issue. मैं हूँ doesn't shake. Even for that person, for that mental ill health also, not that मैं हूँ has shaken. The idea of मैं हूँ is now not resolvable. मैं क्या हूँ? But for an average person, this मैं हूँ associated with the body. He says, just as the Dehi has gone through the 3 stages. Here he is mentioning 3 stages. And Atma remained Nityam. It had no change. So too, Tatha, second line. So too, Dehantara Praptihi. So too, when this body dies and you get another body, what is the transition? Exactly the same way. You have never grieved for a change of a body. When the body changed from one avastha to another avastha, मैं हूँ was never subject to grief. कि मैं नहीं हूँगा. Let me just expand this a bit. When the entire childhood stage, say 5 years to 11 years, 12 years. And when the adolescence sets in and you can see your body changing completely, do you have fear at that time कि I don't know what body I'm getting? Do you have fear कि मैं नहीं होंगी? The body is going through change, you are seeing the change, you know whatever the change is there, you accept it as well. But there is never the doubt, with that change, will I disappear? That's the point. Will I be destroyed with the change of the body? Avastha badal rahi hai. Will I be destroyed? Will I become non-existent? Will I become gayab? Body is there, but I have gayab. Body is changing, but I am gayab. Doesn't, just as this Atma has remained constant, changeless, my aropan of I on my physical features as they kept changing may change. But my experience of I has remained constant, changeless. Just as in a body this happens, so too, exactly the same. Tatha dehantara praptihi. So too, you will get a new body. In Drishtantha Viveka, this is another text, also Prakarna Grantha, written by Madhusudana Bharati Tirtha, called Vidyaranya. Also, he writes over there 5 stages. He says, life experience, you have 5 stages. What are your 5 stages that are there? Waking, dream, sleep. These are your 3 experiences in a life. Along with, there are 2 experiences, jayate, mriyate, birth and death. 5 experiences. The 5 experiences, these are drishyam. You see them around. The drik, the seer, the sakshi, with reference to them, that remains changeless, constant. In a day you see, come to waking, dream and deep sleep. Are these 3 states in any way alike to each other? कुछ भी common है इन तीनों में, as an avastha. Is there anything common between the 3?
Me.
Me, finally me. But as an avastha, the waking is distinct, the dream is distinct, the sleep is distinct. One replaces the other entirely. You don't have to simultaneous avasthas going together. I'm sleeping, deep sleeping, and I'm waking together. Do you have them together? Even my daydreaming, when you daydream, are you actually dreaming or you're awake imagining? You're awake imagining. There are no time ever that any of these 3 avasthas will come together simultaneously. One replaces another at a time. You have sleep and me. You have dream and me. You have waking and me. Sleep replaced dream, dream replaced waking, waking replaced sleep, sleep replaced, but me remained the same. Just as in the 3 states of everyday experience, when you are giving up the waking, when you go to sleep, it's a big vichar in Shastra Drishti. नींद जिसको हम कहते हैं, सुषुप्ति, resting. I know when I'm falling off to sleep that I will lose my sense of I as I know now. The self-cognition, self-awareness, this claiming that I am the body, claiming that I am this name, I know in my sleep nahi rahega. I don't have cognition of it. So far we all agree? Yeah? That I don't know in my sleep, I won't have any cognition of मैं sleeping. मैं नहीं रहेगा वहां पे नींद में. Not only मैं नहीं है, ये पूरा जागृत, this whole world and the relations नहीं रहेंगे. I know them. That bhav of मैं that I have now clenched strongly, believing it to be real. When I sleep, नहीं रहेगा मेरे साथ, छूटेगा. I don't have that cognition in sleep. दुनिया का भान नहीं है, ज्ञान नहीं है. मेरा भी भान नहीं है, ज्ञान नहीं है नींद में. दुनिया और मैं दोनों नींद में भान नहीं है, ज्ञान नहीं है. So far correct? Yet, do I suspect that I will not be there? कभी मुझे डाउट आता है कि ये last sleep, this is my last sleep today, whereas it's a fact. I don't know whether I wake up tomorrow or not. Yet, that I have faith I will wake up There's a very important point I'm making now. I have faith that I will wake up back to my sense of cognition of मैं and the Jagat. मैं का भान और मैं का ज्ञान. I will wake up again by sheer repetition of an experience. Every day I wake up and my मैं comes back of this body and the world. Entire thing that I had acquired yesterday comes back to me. Up to now, whatever I had comes back. It comes back. So everything, I have the sense, I have the feeling that it is coming back. Therefore, I have some faith, unshaken faith. I don't bother much to delve in it. I will be there tomorrow. That is why we make plans. Especially when you have trips abroad, you have to make plans 4 months, 6 months before. 4-6 महीने पहले भी आप तैयारी शुरू कर देते हैं, because there is no doubt कि आज आप सोओगे और कल नहीं उठोगे, next day सोओगे और नहीं, ऐसा कभी मन में आता नहीं है. Death is only one time. When it will come, it will come. So my planning for future can happen because I seem to have full trust and faith in the fact that I will wake up. Is this fact and faith enough to remove the grief of the day-to-day life also? That means मुझे पता है कि मैं तो हूँ. I come back. I have no fear of sleep. I look forward to it, in fact, of giving up this identity. Why am I looking forward to sleep? Because ये सारा जागृत अवस्था का क्लेश जो है, अहम ममा का जो ये झगड़ा है, क्लेश है, ये सारा का सारा थोड़ी देर के लिए I can give up. Get some rest. Get some rest, not as I also give up. My sense of me being this name and form also I give up in sleep. I don't know how much it's a very illuminating piece of information. My sense of may I give up in sleep. Yet I have no fear. I have no doubt. घबराहट नहीं है, शोक नहीं है नींद में जाने के पहले. हाय हाय मेरा क्या होएगा नींद में जाने से. ओहो, I don't know. ये जा रहा है, सोने जा रहा है. Oh my God! Imagine if Arjuna is saying, "Oh, Bhishma is going to sleep. Oh, Drona is going to sleep." Are you weeping for someone who's sleeping? Shastra says here, बहुत बड़ी बात है ये. That is why it's different. Tatha, in the same manner, just as from sleep you wake up to dream, you wake up to, you experience dream, you wake up to waking world. Just as in the waking state you say, I am a Kumara, I am a Yauvana, I am a old. None of these are simultaneously coexistent. Yet there is this Atma which is ever there. Same. Dehantara praptihi also is there. Exactly as on sleep and you wake up in the body again and say, I am this body again. I am breaking the whole into one unit experience. I go to sleep just now. I am talking, walking, thinking, feeling, aspiring, wanting. बहुत कुछ कर रही हूँ मैं अभी अपने मन में, planning. So much is happening. Somebody said something, so my mind is a little disturbed. मुझे गुस्सा भी है, दुख भी है, ये भी है, खुशी की आशा भी है, सब कुछ इस वक्त में हो रहा है. And I'm tired and I say I'm going to sleep. And when I go to sleep, I leave everything. ये जिसको अभी मैंने पकड़ा है ना सारा, everything is left for me to enter sleep. And everything was related to this I in a limited sense. The अहंकार I, जो शरीर के साथ है, अहम sense, I sense. with the body. All of this, what have I done? When I go to sleep, I leave it. When I have left it, before leaving, मन में भय आया, शोक आया, अनसर्टेनिटी आई, डर लगा. हर बार नींद के पहले क्या घबराहट होती है? I don't know whether I will have the same body again or not. कुछ होता है? Anybody?
नहीं.
कुछ नहीं होता है. Nothing. You just find yourself with the body again. The sense of I is restored. The sense of I and the individuality, और जो मैंने सोने के पहले जो विचार रखे थे, all of them have got restored back. For those few where there is no time also, in sleep there is no time also. It's a timeless existence. That timeless existence is Atma, and that you are even now. It's Nityam. In the waking now you are Atma. In the dream, while the dream world is experiencing, you as a jiva may experience a tiger and a war situation. You may experience anything. But that Atma is steady. Tatha dehantara praptihi. Exactly as you've woken up into this body after sleep today, you find yourself with the body. In the same way, the wise people know the nityatvam of Atma, the changelessness of Atma, that there is no death of it, there is no destruction of it. Atma doesn't perish. Atma will not become non-existent. कहीं नहीं जाएगी, कुछ नहीं होगा. As effortlessly as you've woken up into this body and again become a walkie-talkie doll. My favorite for all jivas is walkie-talkie dolls. We are all dolls. Don't worry the gender. We are all walkie-talkie dolls. That's it. कुछ programming है. We operate on our own programming behavior. Programmed as if, how did we acquire the program? Most of us are not even aware what we have entertained as thoughts. We are just some nature that we are expressing. Walkie-talkie beings we are. You find yourself with the body. In the same way, exactly the same way. Shankara says here, just as in the previous state when the Kaumaram Avastha was dying for Yauvan to be born. Yauvan was dying for Jara to be born. Jara dies for Bala Avastha to be born. He says, Tasam, in this regard, Prathama Avastha Nashaha, Atmana Nashaha. Vidya Avastha Upajanane, Na Upajananam Atmanaha. When the second Avastha has born, it's not that Atma was born. Prathama Avastha Nashaha means, say, Kumara Avastha Nashaha. With the Nash of Kumara Avastha, can you say Atma also is died? And with the birth of Yauvan Avastha, will you say Atma is born? So too, the Dhiraha, the one who has the knowledge of Atma, who has not just Anubhav based, now everyday experience based trust and faith that yes, I will probably be born. I will acquire a new body. ऐसा ही लगता है. That's not enough. There has to be prama, there has to be knowledge. The doubt, you are able to see the continuity doubtlessly. The prama is there. Tatha, in the same manner, अविक्रियस्य एव एकस्य द्वितीय तृतीय अवस्था प्राप्तिः आत्मनः दृष्टा. Avikriya Atma, that which doesn't change Atma. When one stage is born and gone, and the other stage is coming and going, tatha, Drishtantha, now comes the Siddhant, the point that is to be made. In exactly the same way, tadvat, वैसे ही बिल्कुल. देहात अन्य देहः देहांतरम. When this body falls, dehantaram, after this body, tasya praptihi, when you get that body, dehantara praptihi is this word in the moolam. Avikriyasya eva atmanaha. Atma remains avikriya, without change. Iti arthaha. This is the meaning. When this is known, dhiraha, he says, dhiraha tatra na muhyate. Dhiraha, the dhiman. What is the example for dhiman? Another with which you can understand the word better. Dhi is buddhi, knowledge. Dhiman is the one who has this buddhi knowledge. Like dhana, dhanavan. Dhana, wealth. The one who has wealth, dhanavan. Shraddha, shraddhavan. Deha, dehavan. Dhi, dhiman. That van and man. Dhiman. That dhiman. The one who has this buddhi. Tatra evam sati. Knowing this fact that Atma has no vikriya. Atma doesn't die. Is not born. Is not dying. Atma doesn't die. Na muhyati. Has no grief. Na moham apadyate. Because there is no delusion, no confusion with reference to existence. There is a prama here. Prama means what? There is knowledge, thought-based knowledge. There is a build-up of thought. Today, what is our build-up of thought? I know I wake up. Lag to nahi raha ki kal I will not wake up. Aaj to nahi lag raha. Just before maybe we are actually going away, maybe a few weeks or days before pata lagne lagega. Abhi to aisa koi sanshay nahi hai. Of course I'm waking up. How are you so certain? Because all this life I have shown waking upness. That faith I have. But that faith is not adequate to say that you are relieved of Shloka and moha. That moha has to go. What is the moha? Moha is that I am this body. Ye sharir mein hu. Claiming the sharir is moha. Claiming that ye sharir mein hu, if that moha is there, then Shloka is there. He raha has no moha, has no Shloka therefore. He doesn't grieve. So what is seen as death for a wise person, extrapolate. For one who would have Atma Gyan, वो death को कैसे देखेंगे?
Change of body.
Change of body, change of avastha. Mriyate, jayate, kaumaram, or waking, dream, sleep. It's a change of avastha. And with change of avastha, yes, it's like, how many of us...
But Deepti ji, I have a question here. But it's not necessary that afterwards you may get a human body, isn't it? You have a change of avastha, but it may not be a human body. That's
true. He's going to come and slowly start bringing it to our level. But first, this is a siddhant to be absorbed. This is a fact. This is knowledge. This is what will remove choke and moh, and because of which there is liberation, there is moksha. Establishing in this knowledge is moksha. But because we have all other doubts still, Arjuna also has them. He is representing us. Therefore, Arjuna's question is going to be, Bhagwan knows, ab wo puchega zarur. Yeah, when do I grieve for Atma? Who grieves for Atma? He says, I have clearly told you, Katham Bhishma Maham Dronam Cha Sankhye Ishubhi Yadi Yotsyami. How am I to fight with these people? My grief is for the people, not for Atma. That question is next answer, next verse. But here the focus is on what? See, every verse, that's why in the Gita is also called a Gita in itself. It's complete. There is this, a verse needs to be focused as the verse, the entire knowledge, and then the next verse is going to bring the link between the previous and the next. And it will answer all our questions one at a time. Now, what is it that Shastra says is going to remove the moha? Is when there is prama. What is prama? I'll just share and see it. Borrowed it as a picture. So, can you see this? Right?
Yes, Deepti.
Ah, great. Okay. Now, what is buddhihi? Buddhi, dhihi, dhiman, the one who has dhi. Buddhi. Buddhi in English is knowledge. You can see, right. Some words may be different here, but that buddhi, knowledge, is from the Nyaya Drishti. Vedanta uses a lot of help of Nyaya, Shastra uses, so that you cannot refute it even on logical grounds. Even on logical grounds, it tests the reason. It stands the test of reason. So knowledge, according to Nyayas, there are two sources. One is your anubhav. Presentation is a wrong word. I don't know how that translation is. Take anubhav. Your anubhav. Other is smriti, your memory. Your memory, first come to this side, it's easier. Your memory-based knowledge can be yatharth, correct, as is. As you gain the knowledge, you have a memory of it and there is no deviation, distraction. Yathartha Gyan, it's called. As you got the knowledge, so you have the memory of it. Yatharth. Or you have Anyatha Gyan now. Your memory holds some additions, deletions, modifications. It's ayatharth. It's false now. It's not exactly as it was. You have superimposed something else on it. It's not exactly as it should. Like, for example, you saw a snake on a rope. Yatharth Gyan is based on the smriti of a snake. You are seeing a snake there. But that's ayatharth Gyan. Yatharth Gyan is rope. You have knowledge of rope. You see a rope where there is a rope. Ayatharth Gyan is, in spite of a rope, you are seeing a snake. Or your own mind has other, you misinterpret. And most of our relational problems are ayatharth Gyan. But knowledge, the other source, which is anubhav, experience. This anubhav has pramanyam, is based on valid knowledge. Valid, has a validity, let me put it. Which knowledge has a validity? Which has been acquired through the means of knowledge, like pratyaksha, perception, anumana, inference, upmana, comparison, shabda is testimony. When the knowledge is gained through that, it's a yatharth gyan. Anubhav is yatharth. It's a prama, valid prama. When is a prama invalid? Aprama. When there is samshaya in your perception, inference, comparison, testimony, there is some doubt. Or tarka is a wrong word. You may say it as vivada, just argumentation, or it's a complete misunderstanding. आप कह कुछ रहे हो, दूसरा इंसान समझ ही कुछ और ही रहा है, उसके अनुभव में कुछ और ही एक्सपीरियंस है. So point here is prama. What is prama? Prama is having a knowledge, correct knowledge. What is our topic in this verse? Just as the body goes through its changes and the Atma remains avikriya, Buddhiman, the one who is wise, has this prama based on his anubhav. And this anubhav is not necessarily the sensory anubhav, Atma anubhav. That Atma anubhav, of course, is not in subject of pratyaksha, anumana, comparison and testimony. Testimony means shabda. Here, Shastra is the shabda. Shruti has verified it for him. Such a one who has prama of his Atma being nityam, the nityatvam of Atma, the one who has his prama ever there, has no grief. And what do people every day grieve for? Everyday life, what is our topic of grief, really speaking? Averagely.
We are cribbing about everything actually.
That's the essence of it. We just crib about anything and everything. We need an excuse to crib, and especially when there is change involved. Where there is a change, we don't accept change easily. Shastra says, as long as your drishti is falling on vyavharik sense, on the body, so long there is subject to grief. But truly speaking, your existence, which needs to be developed through prama, the knowledge has to be developed. You must gain that knowledge, think over it, reflect about it. How am I not this body? The fact is it's made of elements, and yet I claim it to be me. Is it easy to detach from the body while I conduct the body? Is it easy? That's why long ago, if people complain about body structure also, a Vedantin doesn't accept it very easily. What are you talking about? Color and race and, when old age sets in and you start saying, oh, grey hair or this or no hair, it's actually meaningless. शरीर ही नहीं रहेगा और शरीर व्यय ना होगा नहीं. फैक्ट है ना ये तो. शरीर has to change. So why wasting time and energy and effort and just mere superficial, superfluous conversation just for the heck? और फिर अपना दिल जला रहे हो, हाय as if कभी होने वाला था कि तुम्हारी अगले दिन, if you do not want old age to set in, means what? Today should be your last day. Do you want that? You want to live forever also, and you don't want the body to go into old age. How is it possible? Hiraha tatra na muhyati. Ye topic ko leke, it needs reflection. And by sheer intellectual knowledge, just as Arjuna still has got shaken up, one is subject to still being shaken up, but it can't be so severe. It will be dependent upon how much reflection and preparedness we have to accept this fact. What is the fact? I'm summarizing now. What is the fact? Everything associated with the body is anityam. Everything is anityam. Anityam word मतलब पता चलता है हमको. यहाँ कुछ नित्य नहीं है. There is nothing steady. There is nothing constant here if I am associated with the body. I must be firmly rooted in this knowledge, in the acceptance of the fact that there is nothing here that is permanently going to be ever there. It is anityam. What is nityam? Atma is nityam. I am Atma. But my prama has to be there for it. I must know it. Just by hearing it and by saying it and accepting it on faith, it will not displace my moha that I am this body. It has to have reflection. It has to have the strength of thought force. It has to have the strength of mananam. विचार से सिद्ध होगा ये. सुनने से सिर्फ सिद्ध नहीं होगा. मैं आत्मा हूं ये विचार करने से सिद्ध होगा ये. सुनने से कि मैं आत्मा हूं ये सिद्ध नहीं होगा. Means now you are better than not having heard. One step crossed closer. But ज्ञान प्रमा तब बनती है when you are in that mode of recognizing anityatvam versus nityatvam. All this is anityam. Therefore, exactly now, what is going to be your attitude to that what is anityam and accepted it as anityam? What will be your attitude? Knowing कि ये सब अनित्य है.
Grief.
You will stop cribbing.
You will stop cribbing, and that's the first thing that will happen. And at least you'll reduce it so much that everyday botherations end.
There will also be relief.
There will be relief of what nature?
Of acceptance, of
Facts.
understanding, acceptance, and be available to what is there.
Correct. Being, all these programs that we attend, being in the moment, being all this comes from here. This one statement, one verse. You can build and build and build. Being in the moment, enjoying your life, being cheerful, being absolutely in harmony with everything, taking things as they are, not expecting anything out of the world, not expecting anything from people around you beyond the normal course, whatever is necessary. Not over expecting, let's put it this way. There is a realistic value assigned to things. A realistic value gets assigned. You don't have to assign them separately. It gets assigned in all. There is this verse that talks about Atma Shatakam, Nirvana Shatakam. Many must have heard this. Na mrityu na shanka, na me jati bhedaha, pita naiva mata na janma, na bandhur na mitram, gurur naivam shishya, siddhananda rupaha, shivoham, shivoham. That Shiva, Aham. Shiva is Brahman, Atman. Aham, that I am. Shivoham, Shivoham. It's a declaration of Prama, of knowledge. Atma Gyan ka declaration. When this declaration, when this knowledge is there, then what? Na mrityu na shanka. I have no death. I have no doubts. Na shanka. Whether I'll be there, not there, what will happen to me, will I get a better birth, will I get a better loka, will I fall down into adhogati, what will happen to my people behind me, no shanka, na mrityu na shanka, na me jati bhedaha. I'm not able to see the differences in jatis. For me, all living being is an expression of the same. Na me jati bheda. Pita naiva me naiva mata. I have no mother, no father. Na janma. There is no mrityu. There is no janma. I have no janma. Na bandhuhu. Na mitram. I have neither any bondage. I have no friend. No someone who is very close or dear. Guruhu naiva. Na eva shishya. No guru, no shishya. No sambandha. All this is removed, all sambandhas. In avidya, sambandha is our source of existence. Atma Gyan, I have no sambandha. In fact, I have no sambandha. Vyavharik sambandha is for vyavhar. Time pass ho raha hai sabka life mein. When you don't know what you have to do, zinda hai to kuch karna to hai na. How will you spend your life? You have to do something, so vyavhar is necessary. Na bandhu, na mitram, guruhu naiva shishya. There is no guru, no shishya. I am neither a guru nor a shishya. What am I? It's a declaration. Chit ananda rupaha. I am of the nature of chit, pure consciousness. I am of the nature. Atma is conscious. This word is so difficult to convey. What is Atma? People objectify Atma outside. Your existence, the seat of knowledge that is giving cognition to I, that chit is Ananda Rupaha. I am of the nature of Ananda. There is no duality here. Where is the question of grief? Chidananda Rupaha Shivaha Aham. Shivaha Aham. I am that Paramarthik Satyam that Shastra talks of. I have gained the Prama. Therefore, my Shoka is destroyed. Na tatra mohaha, na shokaha. The one who has Atma Vidya, his moha is gone. Therefore, his Shoka is gone. Is that clear? To some extent? More than some extent. Great. It's a very, very profound. So these three verses, 11, 12 and 13 verse. These three verses, you may talk of it as a condensed Upanishad. It's Atma Gyan. यही विषय आपको हर उपनिषद में मिलेगा in a different way. Here the topic is the pratigya is grief. You may have different standpoints in Upanishads. Starting point, question may be different. Katha Upanishad, Nachiketas is asking, what will happen on death? Mera kya hoga? This is what you will get. There are some verses in here from Katha Upanishad itself. These three. And now next verse will be coming to all our levels. Krishna knows. अर्जुन कह रहा है कि भैया मैंने कब आपको कहा कि आत्मा के नित्यत्व को लेके मुझे कोई शंका है. I don't have any grief for Bhishma's Atma or Drona's Atma or my Atma or your Atma, that it will ever be there. I have no problem. I do not grieve that fact. I don't experience grief there. Correct, you're right. Grief is with reference to these who are embodied and I'm related to them. So Arjuna is going to, Krishna knows that Arjuna is going to ask him this question. So he himself is completing the topic. Matra sparshaha tu kaunteya. That entire vyavhar is matra sparshaha, is sense originating. That's it. So what should be the vyavhar for such things? What should be your attitude to that? Tam stitikshasva bharata. In this anitya world mein, whatever is anitya, there's only one thing you can do is forbear it. व्यवहार में कोई दुख आ रहा है, कुछ परेशानी हो रही है, व्यवहार में कुछ grief हो रहा है, you cannot change it. It's a changing phenomenon. You can't expect changelessness here. Therefore, the healthy attitude is bear it. Bear it. Titiksha. Dance titikshasva, O Bharata. Endure it. Because there is no disappearance of anyone, there is only change. The turntable. And incidentally, I saw a clip after I said that example. I think next I saw it. A man sleeping on a turntable. He was so tired. On the airport, you have those luggage turntables. The person was so tired, he slept on the turntable. There's a video floating viral. He's curled up and sleeping on the turntable, oblivious of the world. To you, what is happening? Pratyaksh. Wo hai. The table has turned. He goes behind the screen. You can't see him. For you, it is death. He is there. Then what happens? The table has turned again. Suddenly you see him again. That's it. Turntables. So, Ana Jana. This is where, if you pick up these three verses, it sets the tone of Bhagavad Gita. Then you will know how to live life. Because Gita is not denying in any way, Vedanta is not denying, Shastra is not denying. In fact, by giving us this knowledge, it is telling us how we can live better. So that even the absolute objective can be also aimed. But once you know a fact, your whole attitude to everything around you will change. Okay, so we will conclude here. Oh, we are past time. Let's conclude. Anybody wants to do the invocation? Priyanka?
सर्वेषां स्वस्तिर्भवतु सर्वेषां शान्तिर्भवतु सर्वेषां पूर्णं भवतु सर्वेषां फलं भवतु सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामया सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्।
Everyone.
Thank you, Dipti ji. Hari Om. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dipti ji. Hari
Thank you,
Om.
Deepti ji. Hari Om.
Dipti ji, pranam.